Another aspect of that is when, and a lot of organizations forget about this, is when software goes end of life. Open source software goes end of life, meaning the open source project, the open source community, no longer it's going to update the software or that version or that major version of the open source software, right? So that automatically becomes end of life. It's not going to receive any more fixes, patches. So you have to keep an eye on that, right? Because again, there's going to be newly discovered vulnerabilities, and no one is going to go and patch and update that version because it's already end of life. Big examples of that, CentOS version 6 and 8 are end of life. CentOS 7 is still there, receiving only for major bugs or vulnerabilities, receiving updates. So the community is providing this long-term support until June of 2024. So just over a year. And then all versions of CentOS are end of life. You have to keep an eye on that, right? Because there's always the risk. The same with AngularJS, when end of life. AngularJS is version 1, not the newest versions of Angular. AngularJS is version 1, the one that was created based on JavaScript as opposed to TypeScript. And there are thousands of applications out there that were built based on using AngularJS. It's end of life. They actually have been a few vulnerabilities disclosed, medium and high severity vulnerabilities disclosed since it went end of life. So you are at risk if you are not addressing that. At OpenLogic, we offer patches extending the long-term support for both CentOS and Angular. But this applies to all open source software. If it's end of life, you have to keep. You have to move on. You have to move on to another version or another technology.